Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Wiley Drake. I have the privilege to serve now since the year 2000 as the chairman of the Congressional Prayer Conference of Washington, D.C. It's also been my privilege to serve the last few years with a gentleman by the name of Jeff Wright. Jeff Wright is a pastor, but he is also the director and president of an organization called National Prayer Embassy. He does a prayer tour and has now for more than 30 years. I want to invite you to the National Prayer Embassy, Washington, D.C. prayer tour. And by the way, this tour is held every Lord's Day, every Sunday morning at 7:30 a.m. It's about a 2-hour trip that goes all over the Capitol. Goes out to the Iwo Jima Monument, goes out to the cemetery, it goes to the Washington Monument, to the White House, goes by Homeland Security, goes by Hillary's house, and goes all over the Capitol. It is a 2-hour tour, and it is done in a 15-passenger van. Jeff Wright is a pastor, and Jeff Wright knows Capitol Hill very, very well. You see, he's been a prayer warrior there now for 30 years. A few years ago, I met him because I wanted to find out more about Capitol Hill, and I took the tour, not his, but the secular tour, and it was a good tour, but it cost me about $50. And somebody said, "Do you know Jeff Wright?" And I said, "No." "Who's Jeff Wright?" And they said, "Well, he does a tour, and it won't cost you $50. So I've been taking the tour now for quite some time. Every Sunday morning, I take the tour. I take the tour virtually. That is, at 7:30 in the morning, I pick up my telephone and I call the National Prayer Embassy line, and I hear, don't see, but I hear the National Prayer Embassy Washington, D.C. prayer tour. Now, the people in the van, they get to see all the sights as well as hear all the sounds. If you join us virtually, you will only hear the noise. You'll only hear the sounds, not the video. But if you're in Washington, D.C., and you're there on Sunday, call Pastor Wright, Pastor Jeff Wright, and tell him you'd like to go on the tour. He has a 15-passenger van, and it's a first-come, first-served basis. And if you would like to find out more about it, if you'd like to reserve your spot, call 1-800-828-PRAY. That's the phone number. Call him and tell him. He'll pick you up at your hotel. He picks me up at my hostel when I'm there, because that's where I stay. Sometimes he picks me up at Union Station because I metro in. But for whatever reason, wherever I'm at, if I'm in Washington, D.C. at 7:30 in the morning on Sunday, I'm going on the tour. I've been on the tour many times, and I've been on the tour virtually by telephone every Sunday morning. So, tomorrow, today is the 16th day of August. On the 17th of August at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Jeff Wright will hold the prayer tour in the 15-passenger van. This is the National Prayer Embassy. And if you would like to join it by telephone, you can call this phone number and this access code and listen in virtually to the tour. The number is 712-432-1690. 712-432-1690. Put in your access code 399-430-POUND and sit back and relax and tour Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, virtually. And when you're in D.C., call Jeff and say, "Hey, I'd like to do it in reality, not only virtually, but literally." The National Prayer Embassy, ladies and gentlemen, can be reached at 1-800-828-PRAY. I would encourage you to go to the website and check it out. The website is www.nationalprayerembassy but you don't write it all out. It's N-A-T-L, N-A-T-L for national, P-R-A-Y-E-M-B. So it's National Prayer Embassy. But N-A-T-L, P-R-A-Y-E-M-B .org. Join us tomorrow morning. I will be there. I will be taking the tour from my office here in Buena Park, laying comfortably on my couch as I hear Pastor Jeff say Jesus is Lord over Washington, D.C. And as we hear the prayer vigil and we hear the sights, we can close our eyes and listen and hear and see Washington, D.C. Before I go, I want to remind you that several of us who are ambassadors for Christ declared a number of years ago that Washington, D.C. would no longer be called the District of Columbia because Columbia was a false god. And so we renamed it. As ambassadors for the kingdom of God, as men and women of God, we call it now District of Christ. Join tomorrow morning, 7:30 in the morning, Washington, D.C. time. Now, if you're out here with me in California, that means you got to get up in the middle of the night. It's 4:30 here, but I'll be on that tour tomorrow morning. Would you join me? Pray with me, pray for me, and enjoy Pastor Jeff Wright and the National Prayer Embassy. God bless you, and thank you for watching.